further, its dynamism is transcended in the form of a good epitomize and resume of the whole theme of this wonderful conference. The solutions lies in the obligations on individual, family, community, regions, nations, continents and the whole of the globe. It is the whole obligations lies on the individual. Our carbon footprint that has to be reduced by ethical code of conduct, by realizing that it is the home of human beings. The nature has created the beautiful planet for peaceful coexistence, to use the existing resources in such way that never be allowed to be jeopardized the existing imageful and priceless. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are in play, belong to the poorest of the poor countries. But once it is realized by each and every individual to cut their emissions by using a very little amount of energy, that will accumulate in the bigger way to reduce the whole emissions of the globe and provide very, you can say, peaceful coexistence on the beautiful and living planet. So, ladies and gentlemen, my expertise, they will deliver and also express their own views on this Conference of Climate Change, Sustainable Development and Resilient Society. We are very much here to have some insight about the Department of Geography. It is my great privilege to be here in the midst of intellectual collection to share the glory and pride that was achieved by our distinct department over 100 years. It is my pleasant duty to make you apprised about the existence of this department, how the department was sprouted in the form of a great banyan trees, in the form of a great fountains of depths of knowledge that has showered an intellectual pursuit of activities and transcended different parts of academia and different parts of the geographical frontier, that has rather given a flagship of the department by devoting their own pursuit of intellect for the sake of glorification and significance of the existing Department of Geography. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to draw your kind attention. The Department of Geography of Aligarh Muslim University, Aligarh, was established in 1924. But the seeds was sown in 1875 at the time of the Mohammedan Anglo-Oriental College, when it was given the official shape. The first scholar who has given the shower and wonderful intellectual accomplishment for carrying out the legacy of 1875 was Ateeque Ahmad. And when university was was going to be established by the Act of AMU in 1920. It was the sole guiding principles of the first Governor General of Ateeque Ahmad and Agra was Sir Spencer Harcourt, who was a great geographer, whose interest for learning of geography is completely been exhibited in pursuing his effort to establish the center of learning at Aligarh Muslim University, Aligarh. And probably also be not exaggeration to say that this university was also established out of his meticulous effort in 1990. And it was a mandatory. The university requires at least 15 departments should be there, and out of 15 departments, 4 departments from the Faculty of Science. It was a mandatory, and fortunately, the Department of Geography was one of them. And this wholly effort for establishing the department was also credited to the first chairperson of the Department of Geography was E.W. Don, who was a British geographer, who was also the president of the Royal Geographical Society of London. In 1920, he was offered a professorship, and that was the single professor in the whole university, and even in the galaxy of geography of India. There was no professor post. And he was asked to create the Department of Geography. And fortunately, his effort was materialized in 1924. In the first batch of the 1924, there were 7 students and the teacher Qazi Ateeque Ahmad, who was the first teacher, undergraduate teacher, who has imparted his elegant lecture that has become a milestone in the field of geographical learning. And in 1925, the first postgraduate classes was started. But due to some uncertainty, the questions for the awarding of the honors degree, again the Sir Spencer Harcourt Butler, who has intervened, and his idea, his suggestions, his efforts prevailed, and it was resumed again in 1928 once he was invited to lay the foundation of geography in 1927. And the stone are installed in the front of the newly constructed building of the department, which is holding this great seminar at this junction. Sir Spencer Harcourt Butler in 1927. We are very much fortunate enough that the department was sprouted, was elevated in terms of all kinds of learning under the dynamic of, under the eruditious thought of, under the invisible scholar E.W. Don. The 3 gems of the scholar. And they were called as the musketeers, Professor Muzaffar Ali, Professor Muhammad Nasir, Professor Muhammad Nafis. He was the second and third batch of the Department of Geography, who made his strenuous efforts to carry out the legacy and to materialize the dream of 1920. Again, gradually and slowly, the pace of geographical understanding, the geographical and mathematical parameters were introduced in order to make geography more popular, in order to make geography very valuable, in order to add the school and college and university level. The emphasis was laid down first for giving a very insightful teaching. Teaching was the first criteria, and it is recorded that the brilliant teachers produced by the department like Sayyid Muzaffar Ali, like Qazi Sayyiduddin Ahmad, like Professor Nafis Ahmad, who established the Department of Dhaka, Qazi Sayyiduddin Ahmad, who established the Department of Geography, Punjab University, Lahore, and while he was joined by A.M. Kapoor, who galvanized these academic teachings in different corners of Indian subcontinent. The department was also produced the another eminent galaxy of the scholar whose contributions and whose thoughtful erudition that are exhibited in his own research as well as teaching. Like P. Daya, Professor P. Daya, who obtained his master degree in 1940 and 41. S.L. Kayastha was there, and again the another scholar of the 40s and 50s, and Gautam was there, Kapoor was there, Johari was there, all that scholar up to 14 to 50, they have exercised their best in promoting the teaching. The basic philosophy of the teachings at that time was to make the encyclopedic information of geographical learning. They have given epitomized the whole of the geographical phenomena under a certain treatise. Mathematics was given much more emphasis by Professor Muzaffar Ali. He was a great astronomer. He was a great mathematician. Because mathematics, the understanding of mathematical interpretations and knowledge is the whole philosophy of geographical understanding for the sake of giving out the shape of the map by devising a principles of map projections. And every scholar we just narrated, they obtained his degree of PhD from London School of Economics under the able guidance which they paid, and again the that is correct. In 40s, then another gems of the scholar who proceeded his postgraduate graduation from Aligarh Muslim University and also became a lecturer, Professor Ateeque Ahmad. Then again, the scholars like the Professor Manzoor Alam, Professor Karimi was there, who was a great mathematician. Then the 60s, we entered at the 60s. A new life was thrown into the teachings as well as the fundamental research in the principles of geographical learning was given by Professor himself. Once he obtained his PhD degree from London School of Economics under the able guidance of Dudley Stein, at that time the Britain was confronting the problem of agrarian crisis. So it was the need of the day to devise certain knowledge, certain principles, certain kind of, you can say, a mathematical or certain kind of devices to sing down the differences of agricultural crisis by giving out a plausible planning for the sake of development of agriculture. The same kind of thing was rather applied by Professor Shafi in India, and he was credited to become a down geographer because his researches and his contributions and even also his philosophy of teaching that was acknowledged and recognized by the different institutions, different organizations, different commissions, different committees, and he was being rather awarded. He was rather well decked and ornamented with different prize, and the first geographer who was well decked with the award of Padma Shri. Many more awards was there. See, the another scholar of that particular period who has really given a much more insight in geographical understanding and the research activities, Professor Munis Raza, Professor Ateeque Ahmad, who was the rector of Jawaharlal Nehru University, who was also the first chairman of the CSRD, Center Studies for Religion, who was also become a principal of Technological University, the Engineering College of Jammu and Kashmir. This kind of mechanism, this kind of, you can say, the outlook, this kind of creative, pragmatic ideas and intellectual accomplishment is not stopped in the academic arena, but it was rather transcended in every walk of life and become a universal scholar. Professor Ateeque Ahmad, again, the scholar like Professor Muhammad Rafiullah, professor who was credited to become as a single scholar of the Department of Geography, who devised a wonderful devices in the field of mathematics for the purpose of planning and development, like the classification of problems. Again, he modified the formula of Weaver. Again, he given a new insight in the generalization, that is positive deviation. Then we entered in the other phase in the 60s and 80s. The whole disciple of Professor Muhammad Shafi, they followed the same footsteps, same footsteps in order to revolutionize the academic arena of the department. So, in 1970s and 80s, the new insight in the field of environmental geography, particularly the household environment, was introduced by Professor Abba Lakshmi Singh, who has given a new dimensions in the study of environment, particularly the household environment, and for the sake of this she was being awarded international projects and also being judged with different honors and awards. But when we entered the 90s, in 1990s and onward, the scientific revolutions, the electronic revolutions in the field of atmospheric sciences, remote sensing and GIS, that has attracted the center of attraction to become a part of this one, the end faculty, our faculty, young faculty member, our end research scholar, they are well acute, they are well educated, develop your own skill in the application and execution of that particular digital technology, artificial intelligence, deep learning, all that. Now they have been credited to get the published in scientific journal. Citation is very much high. Not only the academic arena that has brought many laurels to the department, but that scientific parameters used for the sake of understanding the mysterious phenomena of geographical analysis, that is also again recognized by different institutions, and ISRO has recognized to award. One of the, you can say, major memorandum of understanding was signed in geography as well as University of AMU. So, I am very much pleased to hear and share this glorious development, not in the form of academy. The paradigm was shift from 30s, 40s, 60s, 70s, 80s and onward in the administrative and many more things that has already been narrated by Professor Shah Fazal. I am not going to add any, repeat this one, something that is also the Department of Geography is the center of pluralism. The great diversity, not in the form of the physical diversity, in the form of social, cultural, as well as spiritual diversity, which are being transcended in different administrative arenas. Many scholars, they have also been given a very committed position and held the position of the Vice Chancellor. Professor Shafi was the Vice Chancellor and Pro-Chancellor. Professor Munisandra was the Vice Chancellor. Professor Dayal was the Vice Chancellor of the Baghdad University. Professor Ateeque Ahmad, Professor Mansoor Alam. Almost even more than 6 to 7 personalities, they have also been sharing this great institution as a Vice Chancellor. So besides this kind of distinction that has been credited to for this great center of learning, it is a temple of knowledge. Again, many memory scholars, they have also made their excellence in the field of administration, in the field of IU, PCL, and Muhammad Mustafa as a DGP, Mr. Ateeque Ahmad, Dr. Akhtar Riaz, they have also hoisted their flag as a mark of the, you can say, glamorizing the spirit of the development of the department, and also cherish and make the very wonderful governance in their own walk of life. So, the Department of Geography has a multi-dimensional. I salute and also extend my heartfelt gratitude for those whose vision and whose optimism that has created this legacy, and we are enthusiastically carrying this torch to blaze the trail of enlightenment with the same spirit, with the same vision, with the same optimism to extend the frontier of our research in different walks of life. The government will recognize this kind of scientific pursuit for extending. That will be acknowledged, recognized, and that will be rather honored by the different government and different organizations for the sake of elevation of the ecstasy, the elevation of the academic arena of the Department of Geography to the highest academic plane. I am really very hopeful. It is our remarkable, it is our duty that we have to chart out a future plan, a grandeur plan for making this department again for the sake of bicentenary celebration to make a plausible contribution, and it is rather, I am very much proud, our faculty members, young generation, every such scholar, they are very vibrant, energetic, they are having a very having their human ingenuity, and I am 100% confident and having a rather trust to that particular emerging scholar. They will make a difference to bring this department at the highest academic place in days to come. Thank you very much for your patient hearing. Thank you. Distinguished delegates and ladies and gentlemen, this academic program is rather very much elogized and has given a very wonderful insight. And the whole program cannot be accomplished without the guidance, without the support, without the unwavering academic support, without the academic director of this great faculty. I mean to say that the Dean Faculty of Science is being credited to bring this intellectual galaxy at this great center. Being a great academic lover, that has already been narrated by Professor Nizamuddin Khan in his welcome address, that he is a very vibrant and young scientist in the field of chemistry, and also be credited to become as a great scholar to devise science, also to give out a very, can say, a wonderful medicine for the treatment of the deadly disease like cancer. Many patients, patent is also there, many kinds of the memorandum of understanding in different institutes in different parts of the globe. They are credited to him. I am very much, you can say, thankful for being here, and again I welcome you and please request to come on podium to shower your blessing and to give out your thought, and also to prize all that things regarding your achievement and regarding this whole scholarship for the sake of the wonderful and other values.
Nice introduction.